Hello, Tea Party members, groups, and supporters. This is Diane Silverman, co-founder and chairperson of the 3,500-member Garland County Tea Party in Hot Springs, Arkansas, asking you to please consider joining with us in changing the national conversation in this 2012 election cycle. We want to change it from being only about the many various issues to being all about the biggest issue America faces today, which is the invalidation of the U.S. Constitution by a force that has come to be known as the New World Order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world...
Not everyone is familiar with the term New World Order, and many who are familiar with it have been afraid to talk about it. But at a time like this, when we the people are America's last great hope in preserving liberty, letting fear stop us would be the worst possible thing we could do. Some call the New World Order the shadow government. Some call it socialism, Marxism, even communism. But by any name, it's a global system of governance in conjunction with the United Nations that puts all power in the hands of a small number of people, with the rest of us being their subjects, no longer being individuals with the freedoms and protection of the U.S. Constitution. So let's call the enemy by its real name, the New World Order. Since George Bush Sr. first called it New World Order back in 1992, it has infiltrated into most cities and states under the guise of nice-sounding initiatives like smart growth and sustainable development, globalization, systems integration, and others, while all the time it has been secretly gnawing away at the U.S. Constitution. If you're not familiar with programs like UN Agenda 21 or ICLEI or Project 60, you may be shocked into disbelief when you first learn about these projects. But if we, the people of the Tea Party, you and I, if we don't speak about this, if we can't identify our enemy, how are we going to beat it? If we pretend the danger isn't real, it won't go away by itself. So whether we like it or not, it's time to speak out about the danger the New World Order is to the United States Constitution. While Americans were focused on political parties and issues like health care, immigration, the economy, etc., the New World Order has been working to infiltrate our cities and states with programs that are part of Agenda 21. They did it by feeding grant money to unsuspecting, well-meaning government agencies that implemented all sorts of global initiatives that conflict with our individual rights. Here in Hot Springs, for example, the grants were used to hire an outside consultant to conduct a visioning process for future land use that has as part of it that no one can subdivide his private property, not even to leave it to his children in his will, without prior permission from the local community planning board. The New World Order has even infected the two-party political system. How are we to know that over the years an equal number of top-level Democrats and Republicans both were recruited to sit on the boards of a plethora of organizations and commissions, such as the Council on Foreign Relations, that focus on implementing global governance? Whether the political leaders drank the Kool-Aid or were duped like we've been duped, the result is they are complicit in the New World Order plans to destroy the American dream. Thus, to vote only by party affiliation this time around is to choose to be duped again. Because our leaders are not speaking out about the danger of losing America's liberty to the New World Order, most Americans can't figure out what it is that's turning everything upside down in this country. At this point, we don't know which of our current political leaders or which of the candidates for national office understand the power of the New World Order, or if, when they are elected, they will repeal the executive orders and treaties signed by both President Bush I and II and by Bill Clinton and by Obama, which violate the U.S. Constitution and support global governance. Unless the people of the Tea Party take the bull by the horns and get America talking about the 2012 election as being a choice between the U.S. Constitution and the New World Order, the 2012 election will end up being a choice for the lesser of two evils, and the real winner will be the New World Order. Why talk about fixing the economy when it's obvious, isn't it, that the New World Order wants America's economy to fail? It needs America's economy to fail in order to put the final nail in our coffin. As long as America stands, it makes it tougher for global economic system to take over. I say that in spite of the fact that just a few days ago, China's Prime Minister stated publicly that both China and Russia agree that the world needs a new economic system. Some people in America think we have to elect a Democrat to ensure cradle-to-grave care and redistribution of wealth via taxes to create equality for all. Some people think the Republicans need to win in 2012 to lower taxes and fix the economy. And both the D's and R's still think that when candidates tell us their views on the major issues and we agree with them, that we should elect them. But that action repeated in elections over the past 50 years has resulted in less U.S. Constitution and more socialism. And that effect will even be more accelerated in this election if somebody doesn't start telling the truth about it. This time it's critical that we know where the candidates stand on the issue of the Constitution versus the New World Order. And we need to know what the candidates will do to pull us back from the brink. This is the challenge for all people who say they believe in principle over party. Those who really mean it are now called to rise to the occasion and come to the aid of the country by changing the conversation in this election cycle from being one of many issues to being focused squarely on the Constitution and New World Order. Do you know that Idaho Governor Butch Otto, a Republican, in conjunction with ICLEI, which is part of UN Project 60, a global initiative, has already given over thousands of acres of Idaho land just south of Boise to the Chinese government? The report says he sold the land to them, but reading between the lines, it seems apparent the land was given in partial payment for the American debt owed to China that we can't pay. A relatively new initiative, that Project 60, promises permanent citizenship for Chinese immigrants who come to live and work here under ICLEI. Project 60 is being sold to the American people as a jobs and economic recovery initiative for Americans, but the U.S. government doesn't have the constitutional right to own land except in forests, preserves, or national parks. So whose land is it the government gave away to create a Chinese city in the USA? Yes, I did say a Chinese-owned city in America. Patrick Henry, the patriot, would roll over in his grave if he knew that Patrick Henry Hayes, the current mayor of North Little Rock, Arkansas, is the U.S. chairman of the ICLEI. That means International Council of Local Environmental Initiatives. Another one of those benign-sounding dangers aimed at the heart of the nation. Does Governor Hayes know what he's doing? Well, I don't think he would have been invited to have the position he holds if it weren't for Bill Clinton's patronage, and Bill Clinton definitely is a New World Order guy. His fondest hope is of becoming America's first Secretary General of the United Nations. So you can connect the dots there. And this gets worse. John Huntsman, now running for President of the United States, was former governor of Utah who recently resigned as America's ambassador to China. He's assisting Gary Herbert, the current Utah governor, in going full speed ahead to implement Project 60 in Utah. Would you vote for Huntsman now that you know he's a globalist and obviously anti-constitutionalist? Is anybody going to ask Huntsman about that during a campaign debate or in a letter? Will anyone be asking Governor Perry how he can equate the Gardasil issue, the North American Highway NAFTA issue, and other items he's approved with being someone who says he's for the U.S. Constitution? Do you know that ICLEI, which operates in conjunction with Project 60, codifies regulations set forth in UN Agenda 21? Do you know that on June 9, 2011, an Executive Order 13575 was established at the White House that covers 16% of the American population who live in rural counties? The Executive Order's Rural Council combines 25 government departments, including Defense, Justice, Homeland Security, Commerce, Interior, EPA, Housing, Health, Education, to name just a few. The stated object of Order 13575 is to increase federal regulation of food production, land use, and implement cap and trade. Implement cap and trade and rebuild America's economy at the same time? I don't think it can be done. Do you? America's ship of state is under almost total control of the New World Order, and none of the candidates is screaming about it. We're sitting on a ticking time bomb. Where are the people who have the courage to tell the truth about it to the American people? If not the Tea Parties, then who? Where are the candidates who understand the danger we face and are willing to tell us exactly what they will do to stop it? We have to find them. We have to get them elected. How many messages on the wall do we have to see before we realize the New World Order is not constitutional and it's not America? It's a global power grab to control all property and regulate how it can be used. Under nice-sounding euphemisms like smart growth, visioning for the future, sustainable community, Agenda 21 and Project 60, we'll lose the war for our freedom before most Americans even know who the enemy is. Make no mistake about it. The choice in this election is between freedom under the Constitution or domination and control under the New World Order. Whichever one wins will decide America's fate, and I guess the world's fate, into the future. There is no issue Americans can't solve if we have the rights and protections our founding fathers gave us. On the other hand, without property rights, what good is money? Without First Amendment rights, I have no rights at all, as persons either individually or collectively. The reason the Tea Party movement grew so quickly in 2009 is that the fear of losing our country beat so strongly in so many hearts and minds that the mere mention of it on TV in one man's rant caused a tidal wave of people to come together to make their voices heard.
How many of you people want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage that has an extra bathroom and can't pay their bills? Raise their hand. How about we all? President Obama, are you listening?
By the 2010 election, our movement had become mainstream. Now we have to take the next step and become like a huge brick wall to stop the New World Order in its tracks. If we don't, there will be no use for the Tea Party or any other party, because there will only be one party, the global party. It will rule our lives, and we won't like it. Please notice on this official map of the UN Agenda 21 program that the end result of UN Agenda 21 Wildlands Project will be that one half the land in the USA will be returned to core wilderness reserves shown in red, all surrounded by yellow, which indicate the buffer areas. No human activity will be allowed in the red areas. The black areas are ultimately where humans will be allowed to live. Sustainable development, in conjunction with smart growth, seeks to have everyone living in urbanized, stackable eco-habitats. The sustainable city is designed as a self-enclosed area where we will live, work, and play, and commute via mass public transportation. There'll be no need to go far, because most of the country will be off-limit to humans. Yes, I know the thought of this makes you feel nauseous. If this is the first time you've heard about Agenda 21, ICLEI, and Project 60, you may find this information unthinkable, unprovable conspiracy theory. But if you put forth minimal effort to look up these projects on Google or Bing, you will discover tons of official governmental information proving this is real. While you're at it, you might look up the North American Federation, which will show details of the plan for open borders on this continent that both George Bush and Bill Clinton signed on to. It will be clear then why it is futile to expect Homeland Security or the courts to move against illegal immigration. So much for separation of powers and checks and balances. Please forward this message to all Tea Parties, candidates, journalists, radio and TV hosts, and individuals you know. There's no telling what it will take to change the conversation in this election cycle. But you succeeded in growing the Tea Party into a national force without a how-to book to guide you. Perhaps that was the warm-up round for this new challenge, which is as significant as any battle America has faced. By joining as one heart and one mind to make the U.S. Constitution versus the New World Order the most talked-about issue in the nation, people may begin realizing what we will lose if we let the New World Order win. May Providence guide our way. During the week of September 11th to 18th, the Garland County Tea Party is holding seminars at our county fair on the topic of U.S. Constitution versus the New World Order. Saturday, September 17th is U.S. Constitution Day. Let us know if your group is also planning to hold an event that day. I heard a story about a fire that was raging out of control for many days. It was getting very close to a major city. A news reporter asked the fire chief what could be done to save the city. The chief replied, "Nothing can save us now except a shift in the wind." May our American Tea Parties, working in unison, each in their own way, be the shift in the wind that's needed to make this election one that can save the American dream. We'd like to hear your comments, ideas, and questions. All feedback is welcome. Please email me at gctparty.com. Yours truly with love, Diane Silverman.